is the kind of role of language politics that we talk about. The different characters have a different class access to English and all the opportunities that are either denied you or you have those, if you have English or not. And we talk about how you read it, English you have a different view than you as an English newspaper. And it's very similar, very resonant to that kind of division. It's something I feel that a lot of Muslim salvation fiction doesn't do. I mean, they sprinkle, untranslated terms within the novel, but English as the backdrop is kind of made transparent. And I was wondering, whether that's something, the language project is something you can focus on.
No, I think one of the, you got it well, I think one of the kind of, among the many threads in the novel, one of them is clearly the examination of English and what a perilous fault line it is in India. I mean, it's very difficult to carry out an easy examination of its virtual feelings, but it is what English has done in India is it's created a almost fraught fault line. And one of the character assassins in the book, Kabir M, actually ends up exemplifying that fault line. And Kabir M's story, for those who don't know, Kabir M is born to a Muslim father who is deeply traumatized by partition. And he wants his son, Kabir, who's called Kabir M, because he takes away his surname from him because he wants to deracinate him. He wants him not to have an identity that can ever connect him to Muslims because he's so terrified of what happened with his partition. And so he tries to bring him up as a citizen who's utterly neutral to all religion, to all forms of identity. He sends him to a missionary school, hoping that he will acquire English and thereby completely flee this flawed Muslim identity that he's been born into. And of course, it doesn't happen like that. What happens really is that Kabir is destroyed by English. And to be honest, it was when I was writing the book that came back to me in a very, very strong way how I myself had seen in my school years dozens of boys who actually came from class backgrounds that were not quite as elite as mine get utterly ruined by English. And these boys would come to these missionary schools. The school classrooms were big. We'd have, say, 40 or 50 children in a classroom. And those of us who came from, very, very cosmopolitan backgrounds, had parents in the army or the bureaucracy, and were born into English, we had a great ease with the language and what was being taught in the missionary school. But then there were these boys who were coming from maybe the local mohalla or the local para, and whose fathers could have been shopkeepers or minor clerks, and they were hoping to kind of climb this ladder. And they would come into classrooms, and even today, I can look back and see those devastated faces. And then suddenly, Julius Caesar or Macbeth would be unleashed on them. And there was no way, there was nothing in their experience to help them cope with it. And they were completely blown out by it, and they suffered. They all suffered because there was no way to cope with what the English language was doing to them. And what it does, the more I think about, is actually awful. What it does is it makes you much smaller than who you are. It builds in a kind of a narrative of personal humiliation where you lack the confidence of the language you've been born into. So if you were somebody born into Hindi, and you were probably excellent Hindi, but then you ended up with an entire system where your language was actually a second-rate or third-rate language. And in India, just being born into English sets you in a different class altogether. I mean, the first fault line in India is the English language itself. So there is the world that is born into English, and then there is the world that's not. And those who are born into English start the race way ahead of everybody who's not. And so one of the things I wish to examine, therefore, in the novel itself was what English, as in terms of the novel examines several of the fault lines that run through India, caste, religion, class, and language, which again, because we are the beneficiaries of that fault line, we are very reluctant to recognize it. I mean, I've had actually heated arguments in public. The last one being with Buchandas at the Jaipur Lit Fest, who couldn't see it. Who couldn't see the fact that one English can be great for people who benefited, for people like us. It has been absolutely ruinous for those who came outside of English, because there was no way they could actually. I'm saying it's really deep because it's a kind of self-humiliation. It's a belittlement of one's own self to lack that confidence, and you can see it all the time. At the end of Iran 2 magazines, there's an English character and there's a Hindi character. Many of my Hindi boys are infinitely better journalists than my English boys. But they, even today, they lack the assurance of the English journalists. They're all paid less, and they're paid less not because I want to pay them less, because the logic of their own language ensures that they're paid less. The Hindi character sells for half the price of the English. It gets 1/5 the advertising that the English gets. So there's a whole kind of narrative of humiliation that's getting split into. And all these languages left to themselves have great histories, great literary cultures. Several of them go back thousands of years. They were even before the advent of English. But because of the colonial experience, because of the way English came to dominate the hierarchy of languages in India, it's become that all those of us who are kind of born into English get a kind of head start. And it's not just a head start, I can never deal with that. I think it's a kind of diminishment of the self that those who are not born into English suffer. And I just try to explore a bit of that as a novelist, not in a didactic way, but it's read it, you see how it's done. It's just done in a kind of way of exploring what English can do, what language can do.
I think it does it very well. So the story opens and with this story has English and all the origin history. And then, shifts to the story of the child. I found that quite, some completely different background, and I found that so, it was a real effort on my part to get into his world, and I thought that's what we had to do, kind of provoke the person, reader, basically, to out of his or her comfort zone and try and see a world that we should want to see.
Well, the book in a sense, the concept of novel came to me in 2001 when there was actually this. I mean, there are a few scene incidents in the book which are true to life. The rest is completely imagined. One of the scene incidents is the opening where Nana hears that he's been shot. And I had almost a similar experience one morning, the first week of May of 2001. It was a Sunday. I was sitting in the office at early morning, 10 o'clock, and the office was closed. I had gone to send some emails, and the phone rang, and I picked it up, and there was a friend of mine from Bombay, and he said, "Fuck, you're alive." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Turn on the television." And I turned on the television, there was a ticker running, breaking news, murder rate of Tarun Tejpal for it. Within the next 1 hour, I got about 50 phone calls from all kinds of people who thought that I'd been shot. And actually what had happened is the Delhi police had issued a press release saying murder attempt on Tarun Tejpal foiled. What they hadn't clarified was that they had picked up the hitmen before the hit had taken place. So they picked up 5 hitmen in the morning of that Sunday who had actually taken a contract to take a hit on me. The story that the police gave us was even more bizarre. The police told me that that the ISR of Pakistan had taken out a contract in Nepal, and the contract had been taken out with 5 Indian hitmen to take a hit on me, because if something happened to me, then the government of the day would fall. Because at that point, the government was in this kind of pitched battle against them, and it was very complicated. So this was the rationale that was given to us for this kind of thing. So anyway, a week or 10 days before the incident, I had begun to come under security cover. And eventually I came under a really heavy security cover that lasted almost 9 years. So I was guarded by armed policemen day and night. My house was sandbagged, my office was sandbagged. I could not do anywhere near without being picked up at the spots. So the state, which was actually screwing us every day, had not heard the state in actually protecting me. So it became a real mess. And as a journalist who deals with politics and power on a daily basis, it was also a reminder to me, now as the literary angle side of me, on the fundamental opacity and unknowability of the heart of power. Because no matter what kind of inquiry you made, you always got a response which made no sense. So after one action stopped an inquiry, let us say, let me just go with it. But around that time, soon after the idea that I could use this conceit of these 5 assassins to actually enter a material that I've been dying to kind of get my teeth into, which was really the story of Dana class, the counter narrative of India. Because you have to remember that when I wrote this book, the dominant narrative of India that was doing the rounds in the world was India shining, India superpower, and people like me were arguing every day with those in power and in public fora that we've got to stop this absurd rhetoric. It's just bad. It's bad in every sense of the word. This sort of business of obsessing about India shining, considering we have 600 million Indians who are living at sub-Saharan levels. So for me, it became a conceit to enter my material. It took me a very long time to find a voice to write this book. As I told you, the title came to me in 2001, The Story of My Assassins. The idea that I could enter a very kind of complex rich material through this device. So I had a kind of architecture that could allow me to enter these spaces. But I couldn't find the voice. I struggled with the tone. And it's only when I found that narratorial tone of a high dyspeptic, acidic, dislikable, asory narrator, it's only when I found that particular voice, I could actually enter the material. The moment I found that voice, I mean, I began to write, and that was written pretty smoothly and seamlessly, because the material was really complex, and you could take an earnest or a sincere voice to material like that, because then you would create a mountain of banalities. So you need a voice that would be angular, that would allow you to dig deep, would allow you to kind of, turn the curve. So it's the voice that finally allowed me to actually, enter that material.
I think what is very fresh is, of course, that it is very different from that dominant narrative, but also from a lot of, I think, industrial fiction that cities are this kind of utopian space where tranquility and makes so much protection, and in a way, the city is a daily and at large ensemble is strange and survives and painfully violent in the way that you're eventually described. But it is almost the other extreme to me. It's just so big. I was wondering where you felt is there any potential, any promise in urban spaces today? Where do you see?
No, the first thing about the violence and brutality, I find it astonishing that anybody coming from the Indian subcontinent will begin to believe this is too violent. On a daily basis, if you open the newspapers in my city, my God, decapitated heads, raped 3-year-old girls. I mean, the levels of brutality and violence on the subcontinent are terrifying. I mean, just now, even as I speak, our journalists are running down the story where a 16-year-old girl was picked up in a village near Delhi, raped by 12 upper caste men of the same village. The father and went to the local police station to get the case registered. The sub-inspector refused to register the case. The father, a 42-year-old father, came back and committed suicide. It was a huge media event, crying, the place got decided. The story is playing itself out as I speak. The sub-inspector has not been suspended. 2 of the 12 rapists have been captured. And this is happening as I speak. And there are 3 stories like this in the newspaper every day. We practice every kind of cruelty known to man. Gender cruelty, caste cruelty, religious cruelty, and what violence do we practice? Violence against animals, violence against children. And actually, I've come to slowly believe over time that the biggest googly that was ever spun to Indians was the Gandhian googly. Some of Gandhi made us believe that we are non-violent people. Actually, there is nothing like that in history to tell us that we are non-violent people. I mean, it's a googly that Gandhi spun and we love it. So our self-image and who we are too distinct. How many countries in the world where brides are looking for dowry? And it happens in India all the time, even today. So I'm saying there is actually an immense amount of violence on the subcontinent. And I believe that while we've seen some of the greatest movements against violence, whether it was Buddha or Ashoka or all the way down to Mahavira and Gandhi, most of these movements I feel have risen in response to an inherent violence in Indian society. So we are not a non-violent society, we are actually a very cruel society. And again, we want to see it. The problem with the elite in India is that, and I suppose I'm sure it's sure of Sri Lanka, but I only know India, it's the only country I remotely know, I struggle to even know that, is that the elite is pretty much in a bubble over most of these things. We don't see, there's an inability to see, like you mentioned that in your opening remarks. I mean, let me give you the crudest example of that. In my city, Delhi, which is the capital of India, on every traffic light when you stop, you will have children 3, 4, 5, 6 years old begging for a rupee. They'll come and knock on your door. 99% of the time you will see people will not even respond to their knocking. We don't even see them. My class does not even see those people. They don't exist. I'm saying in most Indians' homes of my class, most people will have absolutely zero knowledge of all the men and women who work in their house. The people who cook for them, clean for them, walk their dogs, clean their apartment, they will have zero knowledge. They don't exist. So we've actually stopped seeing people like that. The story of assassins for me was almost a kind of a shout to try and say, look. And one of the best compliments I ever got from this book was really from a friend of mine who said for the first time when he got up at the New Delhi railway station, having read my book, he saw the urchin boys who live on the railway platforms. He said I never paid any attention to them. But the first time I looked at it and I looked at them, I wondered who they were. You know, you have read the whole book. So there's Chini and Talia, two of the boys who live on the railway station of Delhi, you know. And he said, I've never seen, he said, first time I actually looked at these boys and said, I wonder who they are, where did they come from? Why are they living on the platform? We don't see that, you know. So the elite in India and the upper middle class, we kind of devise the self-serving mechanism where we factor all these things. So if you tell some Indian middle class bloke that, you know, we are very violent people, they go into an athletic fit. He thinks he's a wonderful tolerant, non-violent. We are wonderfully tolerant. We just massacred 2,500 Muslims in Gujarat 10 years ago. We massacred 3,500 Sikhs in Delhi in 1994. Which society imagines it's actually a great normal society where people imagine Europe creates mass massacre, brutalizes itself, brutalizes daughters-in-law, brutalizes children. So I mean, I have no illusions about the fact that we are a brutal society. You know, so I'm not saying that there's nothing nice about us. I'm sure there's lots of wonderful things, but the wonderful things we talk about all the time.
No, I told me that I'm raised by it. I just said it's harrowing to read, especially against children.
Well, I just told you mine. I'm determined to disturb you.
That's the I mean, when that's like I felt that he implied that he was exactly the last person.
That's the point that well, Nightfall was always anxious to make, wasn't it? That this is true about it, but he insisted Indies and South don't see things. Like you don't see people shitting in fields, there's a whole chapter in Nightfall.
Yeah,
so do you go along with that? Which is in some way a kind of foreign idea.
No, I think it's very true. I mean, I just finished saying that, you know, I mean, I can give you endless examples. I'm just giving you two obvious examples, which everybody encounters on a daily basis in India. We don't see, and we've got the one mechanism not to see. And there are lots of things tied into it. I mean, there is, of course, the kind of colonial privileges, the notion of the elite, there's Hinduism, there are all things tied into it. To not go too deep into it, the bottom line is that at the end of the day, we don't see. You know, and we have a certain delusion about the kind of people we are. And the delusion is something we feed ourselves all the time, so we can amplify it all the time. But we are, at the end of it, a very group of people. And it's a very violent society, and the violence is there for everyone to see this ball of group. And as I said, the idea was to actually, I mean, there's a kind of, you know, there's a kind of sanitized narrative about India that kind of wings its way around the world, yeah, you know, suitable narratives around the world, you can go, yeah. So I have a problem with this kind of narratives, you know. I think that those narratives are dominantly constructed around the expectations of white agents, white publishers, white readers, the kind of narrative over there which will work for them, which is what they imagine they expect of India. And that's the narrative we keep around. And it's not true of India. I mean, the truth of India is far more complex, infinitely more complex. You know, and
the term, I mean, you say the purpose of journalism and your fiction, your journalism, is to be subversive, which is kind of course. But when you say the problem with English is that it's kind of screwed up, people who don't speak it, which I'm concerned, is there any kind of solution in your mind to this?
no, it isn't. It's an observation. You know? I mean, as I said, English is also enabled a lot. I mean, there's a kind of old class structure that's very monstrously enabled by English. I'm one of the fortunate, and there are probably many others in this room. But what I was trying to focus on was that's the easy part. We know the ones who've been enabled. What we don't see is actually the damage it's done to a lot of people, a lot of us who were not born into English. And the damage has been huge, you know. I was not aware of it till about 10 years ago when I began to be more and more aware. As I just told you, in my own school years, I remember these boys, and it was nothing, they were laughed off because they were just seen as dumb blokes. But actually, many of them were incredibly smart boys. Just that they did not have the ability because they were not born into the language to read Mr. Shakespeare, you know. So it was a problem.
Can I take you back to your beginnings? You were born, I think, 63, yes?
63, yeah. No, very.
And your father was an army officer?
That's right.
Was there anything in your family background that said, you should be a writer? And then you written in your family?
Not really. My father had a nice turn of phrase. He's still alive, a good man, and he still has a nice turn of phrase. But beyond that, no, there wasn't any. we are Brahmins, and yesterday at Oxford I was trying to explain that to somebody. I came with this Professor Mary the other day, who was saying, is there nothing good of food in India? And I said, there's monstrous amounts of good of food, but not in the way we eat it. You know, there are many, I was saying, for example, I'm sorry to digress, I'll come back to that. I was saying, for example, what the founding fathers enabled in 1947 and 1950, through a whole set of incredible documentations and breakdown of institutions, was a series of processes whose fruits we are beginning to see now. I've been in a number of conferences in the last 6 months where there's a great deal of anxiety about where India is today. Because if you're in India today, all that seems to be breaking loose. The whole place seems to be coming apart. But you know, the more I think about it, I think it's okay. This is exactly what is due to happen. And what is happening is owed to those unbelievable processes that the founding fathers, with their great wisdom and great deliberation, put into place. And I'll try to explain what I mean by those processes. So, the one thing I pointed out to Professor Bailey was that one of the processes that has actually gone through is, say, the Dalit empowerment process. You know, so today the fact that Mayawati can rule by far the most populous, she's been elected chief minister 4 times, or by far the most populous sort of state in the world, 200 million people. This is connected to the question you asked me originally. I was born into a Brahmin family. I remember my grandfather telling me that on the streets that our houses were built, no lower caste could walk those streets. You know, this was just at the time of partition, in the late 40s and early 50s. Today, you see Dalit empowerment going on in an incredible way. Every time there's a kind of incensed argument about GDP and Moody's downgrading us or GDP falling. The question I really want to ask, and which I think Indians should be asking themselves every single day from my department, according to them, those who can speak it, is how do you measure in terms of progress when a Dalit gets empowerment or goes to school or gets the ability to file an FIR in the police station? How does it ever show up in a GDP? There is no way that it will show up in a GDP, but that, for many of us who bother to think about it, is monstrous progress. I said that at the Cambridge seminar that day that we have so many contesting claims in India today, and all these, there's a clamor for these contesting claims, and many of these claims and the progresses that these claims are seen, the organic way that these claims are progressing, have actually no linkages with the kind of empirical systems you develop to measure progress. Because progress cannot just be what the stock market did or what the GDP was. I'll tell you a great story. You probably know Arif. You never did journalism with it. Okay. Arif told me this story about 12, 13 years ago. Arif had quit the Congress and joined the BSP, Mayawati's party. And we were drinking one day, 4 of us sitting, and these guys were attacking Arif for having joined Mayawati's party, saying she's a crazy, what are you doing with her? And he said, you know, you guys have no idea. The problem is you guys live in cities and you have no idea what it means to be in the BSP today. He said, for the first time, because Mayawati is in past, she was chief minister then for a short stint. He said, for the first time today, there are Dalits across UP who have the courage to walk into a police station and register an FIR. And that FIR will be registered. He said, all these years, for the last 200 years, if a Dalit saw a cop, he would have get retrieved. Now, how do you measure that in GDP terms? You know? So I'm saying, and I made this appeal even in Delhi that I said, I think we need to do huge things to stop looking over our shoulders and stop leading ourselves through the eyes of either Western power or Western media. All our problems are unique. We are 1 billion, 200 million people, and we are incredibly poor. We have about 600 million people who are unbelievably poor. We have to square with our problems in our own way. We have enough smart people in our country to be thinking very hard about how to fix our own problems. We don't need it to be dictated by anybody, and we don't need to be anxiety about some international rating agencies or some international planners deciding that we are good, bad, ugly, because the rest of the world has always read us in ways they choose to read us. In the 60s and 70s, we were seen as fundamentally a misguided economy, a land of snake charmers and defense of spirituality. That was the rough label put on us. About 10, 12 years ago, we became a country of software, of the nuclear superpower, with shining India. So that was a new narrative that came into place. And now when I look at it, I say how incredibly unfair the West was. We should have been hailed in the 60s for being remarkable. What we were attempting in the 1960s was extraordinary. We were attempting, the founding fathers were attempting to take a hugely poor, illiterate, to colonize country of 200 years, feudal country for another 1,000 years. They were trying to take this nation of almost 450 million people into an age of modernity as a liberal democracy. I mean, the fucking world should have been saying, these are the guys to see, these guys are unbelievable. In the 60s, we should have been praised, and we were being derided. And then, when we just, and then one day the Western world discovered the hundreds of millions of consumers that were potentially available in India. And with their own markets drying up, the whole corporate political structure of the West began to focus on India as a place where goods could be sold and deals could be cut. And so suddenly another narrative takes place. And this narrative is now about how wonderful India is. It was shining in it. The first narrative was dishonest, the new narrative was dishonest. People like me have just been arguing about that, saying, actually, the idea of India is an infinitely more complex and gorgeous idea. Don't be reductive of it all the time.
But don't you think people are all reductive of places they don't know? I mean, I'm reductive towards America. I mean, but you take reduction of India so seriously because it's a kind of foreign infection. Seems to be slightly. I mean, I understand the grammar.
But here in America, they don't care what you say about them. And that's what I'm asking for. I don't care. Everybody has a right to think what they want of us. I'm arguing with my own countrymen. It's like I say about communalism in India. As I say, I often tell Muslim leaders when they come and see me, I said, this battle is not really between the Muslim and the Hindu. This is a battle between the Hindu and the Hindu. I mean, the issue of majoritarian Hindu communism in India is not a battle between the Muslim and the Hindu in India, it's a battle between the Hindu and the Hindu. Similarly, this is a battle with my own countrymen. And I'm exhorting them to stop looking over the shoulder and worrying about what anybody in the West has to say about us. And we need to speak. Every time we give we undertake a social equity scheme, there is all head to play. The English language press, dominantly owned by corporates, goes berserk about falling, rising fiscal deficit and falling GDPs and excess of subsidies and subsidies getting displaced. A lot of it also comes from the West, which is always trying us to be one kind of economy.
Yes.
They think nothing of giving billions of dollars of bailouts to rich bankers. But we give a few billion to the poorest of the poor. What these subsidies are, Let's look at MNREGS, which has created a big lot of noise in India, the Mahatma Gandhi National Employment Poor Guarantee Scheme. You know what it gives? It gives 100 days of employment at 120 rupees a day, just 100 days in a family of 4. It's not in subsistence level, and we have problems with that. Why should we have problems with that? I mean, the original covenant of the idea of India, I can see Sumit sitting there, the idea of India, the original covenant of the idea of India and the founding fathers is basically founded on, in my opinion, 3 pillars, which is tolerance, inclusiveness, and compassion. And it's because, and that idea is founded on that because we were an unbelievably poor country. When we became independent, GDP less than 1%, 90% of the country illiterate, no manufacturing, you had nothing. Men like Nehru, I think, were thinking unbelievably out of the box, even thinking of a mixed economy. I mean, he is now castigated in India, and again castigated by the same upper class English press for having ruled the economy. I don't think so. I mean, if you were Nehru in 1947 or 1950, and people forget even the communal narrative that we go on and on about, the communal narrative is not new. The communal narrative started in the 1920s. Since the 1920s, there have been 2 clear ideas of India. There has been an idea of India represented by Gandhi, Nehru, Ambedkar, Azad, as it exists today. And there has been an idea of India by the right-wing Hindu crazies, who believe it should be a majoritarian Hindu nation. And it's always been in conflict. And let me just say to that even within the Congress, there was always been a right-wing Hindu majoritarian streak. It took Nehru almost 6 years to push through the Hindu Marriage Act because people within the Congress, and the Hindu Marriage Act, which finally gets enacted in 1956, basically is the first legislation that gives real dignity to the Hindu married woman. That means gives equal rights, make sure that the man can't marry more than once, and all this kind of stuff. But it takes him 6 years to run it through his own party. I'm saying, so this was the odds against which these guys were battling. There are social laws. For example, I just told you about the great case near Delhi. Now the truth is that all these legislations were nailed down in the 1950s. In India, you could not call an untouchable because you would go to jail. So the legislations were all put into place. But society moves infinitely slower than destinations. So nothing happened. Even today, I'm saying in 12 upper caste men raping a 16-year-old girl are trying to get away with it, and the policeman is not filing a complaint in 2012 because of because of the way society moves. This is what these guys were up against. Yeah. So it's been a huge, huge challenge for them to construct this story. And I really have a problem with the way the West has continued to manipulate the Indian narrative for whatever reasons, for their own reasons. More problem with my own people and my own elite. And
Surely not the Guardian. The Guardian doesn't even look at this.
I don't follow the Guardian. Yeah. Something has to continue with the Guardian. I can barely, as I said, get past all that happens in India. Yeah, you know. And the government really was that the elite's government was very clear right from the beginning. The elite's government was all these guys were elitists, and they was the elitists, Ram was the elitist, all of them. Even Ambedkar, born Dalit, went to Columbia University. So they were elitists in a sense, but the government was in a country like India, you carried the burden of your people. And you know, your government was different from governments and other founding fathers and made in other countries.
Just going back to journalism before we ask questions. I'm having the feeling that you became a journalist because you were married rather than because you wanted to write.
Actually, because I wanted to get married. I was actually going around with a woman I was marrying, and I was pretty sure if I didn't start working very soon, they'd marry her to somebody else, or she would get married to somebody else. You know? So I took the first job that came my way, which was journalism. No, I became writing for the national newspapers when I was still an undergraduate, and it was, I wanted to be a novelist, but there was no vocation for a novelist.
Were you engaged there or not so much?
No, I was. In fact, I think part of the generation, and this is also a curious thing, I think I was part of the generation where a lot of us chose journalism as the first career, and we were fundamentally infected by the emergency. I was in school when the emergency took place, and it's post the emergency that I think journalism got a clear sense of what its role was in a free society. I mean, till then, journalism had been a kind of handmade into the nationalist project. The first 25 years of free India. Yes. It's only with emergency that the polarities became clear that if you were a journalist, then your job was savior to power. And so a lot of us were fascinated by that particular.
I'm just trying to get an idea of where your models were then, because if you look at the Times of India in 1978, say, 79, you will see a very traditional British newspaper, very traditional 1930s.
That's right.
Called Middle in the Middle.
That's
humorous middle. Leaders are not there and so on. Outrage, mainly political, occasional disappointment. So when you looked at that, you obviously felt some discontent with it. But where did you look to find the kind of inspiration to do something else? Was that
No, I have to confess that my inspiration was largely literary. I mean, most of my goals were writers and poets, and not journalists actually. So I came to journalism as a sort of, as a kind of vestibule into the mansion of literature. And just that there was so much success in journalism over the years that one kept going. Also, something else happened. The 1980s opened up an era of journalism where journalism assumed the kind of centrality it never had. If you remember the 1980s in India, the Sikh agitation, the Assam agitation, the assassination of Mr. Gandhi, the anti-Sikh riots, the opening of the Baghi gates, the Mandal Commission, the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. I mean, it was an incredible era in news terms. And so at that point, print being the only thing there was a kind of centrality and a context to being a journalist that was fantastic. And I suppose what someone like me would have been pursuing is the idea of context, to have context in a kind of society. And I think that's what it really was. But my goals were really, as I said, writers and poets. And today, where I stand, I mean, the man I most admire is Jawaharlal Nehru. He is the man, I think, without whom we don't have a country.
And the writer you most admire?
Several of them actually. I mean, influences, I would say. I think as a writer, Dostoevsky, Kafka, George Orwell in a big way. Among the poets, Walt Whitman, Eliot. The book that I find is the most important book in my life, most influential in terms of influence. Just understanding what storytelling is and the ingredients it should contain is the Mahabharata, which I believe is the greatest novel ever written. For its cast of characters, for its plotting, for its moral ambiguities, for its philosophical, mission. I mean, for me, that's the kind of greatest part of a great novel. Apart from that, I think the books that have been of huge influence are Cervantes, of course, Don Quixote, individual books, lesser known ones like Herschel Slavek, The Ghost of the Shrek, Auto da Fe, Canetti, these are kind of individual lesser known books which I think have impacted me.
E.M. Forster is in this list.
E.M. Forster is not in your list. I have to do my report.
Well, I think time's come for questions from anybody, really. Yes, this gentleman.
I'd rather not ask a question, but I'll try to bring some 3 points that, being very honest, I've read the book, but these points are particularly based on the kind of discussion that we had. The first is related to the language issue that you talked about English playing the gap or the borderline. Don't you think that same applies to Hindi also? Because when I say this, I have in mind a huge section of Indians who cannot even speak Hindi, South Indians especially. And I find many of my South Indian friends are more, they grasp English more easily than Hindi. And therefore, when you say that English plays a borderline, I believe that it also has some other role of, at least on the face value, giving a link to different languages spoken in India.
No, that may be true. As for this thing about Hindi and South Indians, I have to say I never found a South Indian who has felt diminished because he doesn't know Hindi. I actually feel the South Indian and the languages they use with great pride. And all those languages have very long histories and very strong literary, tropes. You don't feel diminished. It's actually only English, which is the language of the elite in India, which is a old language of colonial power, and now the new colonists like us. It's only English that creates this kind of slight trauma. Where if you don't know English, you always feel you're not good enough. And the system, I'm saying the system, the way it's configured, gives all those of us who want to do English a big head start. How can my child, my driver's child who goes to Hindi medium school ever even begin to get the kind of start my child will get? It's not possible. I'm not saying you can fix it overnight. I'm saying recognize it for what it is.
Yeah, that's true. When someone from South India travels to Delhi or goes to study in Delhi University or GM.
No, that's different. That's like you go to France and having trouble dealing with the French language. That's about. It's a practical difficulty of dealing with the language you don't know. It's very different from the point I'm trying to make, which is about diminishments. That English was taught as a language in India as a diminishment, not just Hindi. That's what I meant.
The second point was about the aspect of don't see. Because the friend of yours, who narrated, one fine morning when he goes to New Delhi and he starts to see people whom he would not recognize otherwise. I have a philosophical question in mind. That's about, is it not better sometimes not to see than to see people in a particular generalized frame? For example, to see as a person staying on the railway line as a probable assassin in that sense. I'm not reading the book, so I don't know how you can read it.
That's not what I meant. When I said don't see, I mean they don't exist for them. They don't see them. When I say don't see them, they don't even exist for them. It's when the guy who knocks on that 4-year-old child who knocks on your window at a red light in Delhi. You don't see him. For you don't think about him. You don't have the empathy or the imagination to try and understand who that person is. Why should a child of 4 years old, below the level of your glass window, be knocking, asking you for a rupee? Because you don't see. So nothing kicks in, no empathy, no imagination, and societies, when you lose that, all sense of empathy and imagination of society is in trouble, and we have been in trouble, in a number of ways, which is why you see a lot of these mutinies. But here to say what I was trying to tell you earlier, this is something, I've been thinking about it, and since we discussed this so often, I've been trying to feel that what we are seeing today in India, this kind of incredible upsurge of camera claimants, has to do with the fact that the widest unstated ambition of the founding fathers has today come true, which is that a clear sense of entitlement has gone down to the poorest of the poor and the weakest of the weak. This sense of entitlement only once belonged to the elite in India. And today I feel that that sense of entitlement has gone down everywhere, and that's the reason what we are seeing is that people are just standing up, forming collective and saying, this is ours, this belongs to us. The state, this country owes this to us. And it's actually an unbelievable triumph, you know. And because if you actually see the detail of most of the trouble that's arising all across the country, it's actually just groups of people, sometimes individuals, sometimes collectives, standing up and saying, this belongs to us. It's a sense of entitlement which was never there, you know. And again, the crudest aspects of the sense of entitlement are that you can no longer treat people who work for you in the old ways you used to. I mean, I remember the difference between the way servants were treated in my parents' time and the way you have to do it today. Because the sense of entitlement has gone everywhere. And what we see today is a lot of this sense of entitlement where people are standing up and saying, all right, you know, this, you can't do this to us, or that a certain bit of this is owed to us. You know?
Isn't that quite uncomfortable?
Of course it is. It's uncomfortable again for the elite class. And by the way, the guys who are wailing the most about it is my class of people. Because this is a sense of entitlement they've always appropriated for themselves, but are finding it problematic to deal with now that it's going everywhere. But I'm saying, in the long run, that sense of entitlement would be, I imagine, even if it was unstated what the founding fathers wanted. And I see that sense of entitlement, if it goes well, playing itself out to create a far more egalitarian society in 10 years' time than we've had so far. We are a very unegalitarian society, maybe we become more egalitarian as more and more dispossessed, as more and more middle class begin to appropriate their own sense of entitlement also.
Or it might become more righteous.
It could be that too. It could be that. But I'm saying it's a process. I mean, as a journalist, it's problematic, as a politician, it's problematic, but if I were a historian, like my friend is, then I would step back and say, well, this is a kind of process that's going on, you know.
It's almost a Magna Carta moment, I suppose, you know, where people get 1215, they decided that king couldn't have his own way. So in a sense, the so-called law of council. But what has led to this? What's caused it? Has it come from the bottom or has there been?
No, I think what's led to it is actually, as I keep going back here, you know, it's actually the vision of the founding fathers. I mean, the fact that the institutions, the Constitution of India, the legislation they enacted in the first 10 years of the founding of India, between 47 and 57, I think it's really all that kicked off processes whose fruits we are beginning to see now. To some of those fruits may seem a little thorny. But I think fundamentally, as time will tell, these are really the fruits of those processes. And you have to understand that unlike almost everybody else in the last 150 years, the founding fathers of India were remarkable in the fact that they didn't believe in overnight revolution. They actually put their weight behind processes. And that's the big difference. In fact, that's the difference I have with the whole Lokpal campaign that was going on in India for the last 2 years. The idea of the overnight revolution. There is no such thing. I mean, the history of the last 100 years tells you that every overnight revolution has ended in bloodshed and chaos. But the founding fathers didn't do that. They actually sat, they argued in rooms like this, day on day. They are some of the brightest men of their time, men and women of their time, and they argue till they agreed upon fundamental principles which were idealistic, which were noble. I mean, it's what I was saying to Professor Bailey. So he said, what is it, if India is failing, what is it that the founding fathers have really achieved? I said, the biggest thing they've achieved is they've set a bar. You know, the bar they said is what we fail against. But that bar is so high, we fail against that bar actually. They struck a high note 60 years ago, a very, very high note. It's that high note we struggle towards. And if you forget that high note, I believe, you know, we will lose our way. You know? And it's that kind of high note that we need to still struggle towards.
Let's go to a few questions. Wouldn't you say about, you talking about Indian dominance, wouldn't you, in India, as well as English, wouldn't you say Indian dominance as well was partly due to British influence as well, because in the 19th century they wanted to promote, foster, Hindu religion, Hindu language as well as a way to try to prevent between both Hindus and Muslims?
No, as I said, you will have different parts of India where different languages dominate. It's not just Hindi is more dominant because far more people speak it. That's the reason. I mean, because the Gangetic plain with some 300 million people out there, 350 million people, you know, who actually speak it. But otherwise, I mean, if you go to Kerala, it's Malayalam that you will hear. If you go to Tamil Nadu, it's Tamil that you will hear. My point of English really was that it's a big class differentiator, unlike the other languages. You know, if you speak Hindi or it's not a class differentiator versus Tamil. But English, because it's the language of the elite, I was saying provides you a kind of class differentiation.
But that is not, but don't you think it was not a new trend though, because English really supplanted Persian and Urdu, which were the dominant language in North India, when they came in. So would you say it's not like a new thing, because even in those days it would have been a class thing as well, because for example, in my family, we would traditionally learn Persian because of associated with the elite, the old reading classes.
But this was the thing about modernity. You're right about what you say. The thing about modernity was, it said the old elitisms had to give it more newer egalitarianisms. That was the thing about modernity. I mean, the thing we were trying to do was break down the old feudal order. And the greatest thing that the Indian founding fathers did to break the feudal order down was they enacted two crucial legislations that have shaped modern India. The first was universal adult suffrage. So it didn't matter whether you spoke Urdu and had 100 million in your bank, your vote counted for no more than the guy who tilled the field. So that was the first thing they did. The second thing they did was they enacted far-reaching land reforms. And what they did was they broke down all the land holdings in India so that the old feudal order, the old zamindars, would then begin to slowly crumble. And so these were two big things. So in a situation like this, I'm saying, the fact that India still continues to hold. Again, try and understand, I'm not saying that you can mandate a change. I'm just examining a phenomenon. It's not as we can mandate. We haven't been able to mandate a change in so many things,
But some people, but some of the established nobility, like some of those who had larger landholdings, some of them didn't want that, and they actually rejected that. And it's been argued that some of them actually supported the Pakistan movement as out of a fear of abusing their own. So you could say not everybody in India accepted that during the British period. Accepted these reforms that you're talking about, Dan.
No, the land reforms came post-partition. I think I'm mixing things up. I'm talking about what happened once we became India, but post-partition.
But during the British era, they did try to.
No, I'm not talking about post-partition. In the British era, there is a whole school of thought that thinks the land is supported the creation of Pakistan. That's an established thing.
And one last question about violence. You say extension of political influence and power in India. That if you're protected by
I don't think so. I think in that sense, in terms of political framing, the political framework is actually institutionalized to minimize violence. But it's not. But I'm saying it's inherent in society. It's inherent in the kind of classifications and layerings of society that violence, and that a lot of the violence ends up being structural violence.
But just the law case illustrated how violence could be. How a murderer could be protected by India's political system.
The murderer has been in jail for 8 years now.
But initially,
that's no thanks to Tehri. We sent him to jail.
Yeah, but initially there was.
Of course there is. I just said, these things take a long time. I told you a much worse story which is playing itself out now. There's always that. There will always be a tussle between Western interests, entrenched forces. All that crazy battle is on day out in India, all across the world. That's going on, absolutely.
You raised a question about Lokpal. I'm more confused about Lokpal than I have clarity on that, because there's more perspective on the Lokpal in India. The elite feel that it's not going the right way, whereas there are certain part of the elite that say we will be a part of it because we go and sit with the team. There are discussions that happen in India, they fail for whatever reason. They come out and then they're against it. Where do you think they're going wrong? Because then there is another party of West who compare it with the Tea Party.
Personally speaking, I'm not for the Lokpal. I'm just going to say. I think the movement was great because it brought corruption back on the front corner, but I don't think the Lokpal is an answer. I'll also issue a caveat. All these guys are friends of mine. Anna Hazare, Prashant Bhushan, Arvind Kejriwal. And Arvind has been in my office arguing for hours at various points of this whole campaign, and they all only disagree with them on what they've been trying to pursue. It's the same story. I've had long arguments with them. This whole positing of the Lokpal as a magic wand that was going to kind of cleanse Indian society overnight is a scandal. It's a joke. Nothing of that sort is going to happen. When you start breaking the whole idea of Lokpal down, you find it's unwieldy. It's unsustainable. It banks upon creating thousands and thousands of pristine, officers. I don't know where they will come from. So the whole idea really, and the thing about India is, which is again what I keep arguing with them, is not that the laws don't exist. It's actually enforceability that's an issue. You don't, to monitor one crazy mad superstructure, you don't create another mad crazy superstructure in the belief that I will manage the first one. You got to clean up what you already got. And I think that's what, I'll tell you an anecdotal story. So when the local movement started, everybody, all the editors in Telugu were thrilled. They said, fantastic, wonderful. I was the only guy who said, this is bad news, this is going to go badly. In 3 months, everybody had come along to my point of view. One of my editors has an aunt in Gurgaon, which is right next to Delhi. This aunt of hers used to go every single day to Jantar Mantar, where Anna Hazare was holding his rattling fast. And she used to go there and shout slogans all day. What this editor told me was, he said, what nobody knows is that this aunt of mine, every night, goes to sleep with 1 crore 10 lakhs under her bed, which she received for selling a flat. That's the kind of black money she received for selling a flat. She saw no contradiction in that. This is what I meant by a lot of the Indian elite that were going on about Lokpal. You would go to living rooms and you would have these people who were drinking good scotch whiskey like I was, going on shouting about corruption and all that. Each time, I wanted to say, but boss, you are the guy who's doing it. I mean, you are the guy who's doing all of this. I know what you do. I know the hundreds of millions you made and how you made them. Why are you standing here helping me about corruption?
That's exactly what
But it's again part of what I said earlier, we don't see. We don't see our own duplicities, we don't see our own double standards. It's a great, and again, this is something I played with in the novel, I don't know whether you spotted it. I mean, there is a certain problem with Hinduism. At its very heart, Hinduism is a moralistic religion. Both the great beauty and the great order of Hinduism is at its heart. It's a very moralistic religion. It's not prescriptive like Christianity or Islam. It doesn't tell you what's right or wrong. It leaves all volition to the individual. And so it has great abstract beauty and also beauty in other ways that plays. But it also has this horror that actually allows you to do anything. So one of the conceits, one of the sort of riffs I played with in the story of Assassins is that at some point or the other, almost every character in this book justifies and validates his life by quoting the Gita, which is the great central text of. And actually, whether you're a mafia don or a spiritual leader, you can use the Gita to validate your life. And that's the beauty of the Gita. And this is part of our ability to be duplicitous and not see. So it's very easy for us to go on. 99% of the guys who are heading for the low path were not having a single moment of self-transformation. And I asked this to Arvind and all these guys. I said, do you think all these guys were showing up there? I said, do you think one of them has had a moment of self-transformation? The thing about Gandhi, I gave an interview in which I said, every time someone mentions Gandhi in the same name as Anna Hazare, I want to throttle them. I got a kind of wave, I was assaulted on social media, which I don't follow, so it doesn't matter to me. But the truth of the matter is, this was again the kind of shallowness that we talk about. Has anyone even bothered to read Gandhi? Gandhi is infinitely complex. I know Annaji is a kind of simpleton. I told the Prime Minister, I said, the true phrase for Annaji is he's a village level reformer. That's who he is. He's a good man, he's a village level reformer. He wants to tie up guys and pick their boss for Christ's sake. Yeah? That's what he wants to do. He wants corrupt people that he wants the arms of corrupt people to be chopped off. I mean, he's a nice guy, but that's the level at which he thinks. And he said it on TV. I told the Prime Minister, in fact, I told Shankar, I said, you guys just keep him on TV. About 6 years and they're not being cleaned up. I mean, that's the level at which the thought process works. With Gandhi, everything was self-transformative. Everything he did, he first tried on himself. And here was a whole campaign that was being built, ostensibly by a great social reformer, that was built on only one kind of tone. And that tone was, you guys are crooks. It was a purely accusatory campaign. So everything that they were saying was accusing somebody else. You're wrong, you're corrupt, you're this, you're that. We guys are fine. And anybody who lives in India knows that's totally untrue. It's impossible in India for everyone not to be complicit in small or greater measure to the corruptions that you can form India. I have in fact come to believe that corruption is not India's primary challenge. India's primary challenge is inequality. You have a country that has 600 million abjectly poor people living at sub-Saharan levels, more than the population of Africa, and you have the richest people in the world today. The richest Indians are the richest people in the world.
But then inequality is actually because of the corruption.
No, actually it's the other way around, that's what I'm trying to say. And there has not been, and interestingly, yesterday at Oxford when I was there, a professor of economics gave a very interesting dissertation. I'm asked to write for there about it, about how actually corruption has been endemic to every single society process. You know, he says there's no legislation, no leadership, nothing can ever watch it out. It's always there. And he gave a whole set of reasons for why it exists in every society. In India, let me take a counter view. Let me now say that actually corruption in India is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Let me say corruption in India is actually a level of the playing field. I'm saying if you're born on the wrong side of the tracks in India, suppose you're born to the wrong family, the wrong language, you don't go to the right schools, you don't go to the right clubs, you don't know the right people. Alright, it means you're out of this upper thin crust of the elite. What chance do you have of succeeding in India? How would you do it? If you were my driver's son, how would you compete with my daughter? How? Let me tell you one of the ways you would compete. You would compete by supporting the system. And that's what we call corruption. But the system has not been set up by God. This system has been set up by men. Men who have created the system that fundamentally protects their own interests. But it doesn't protect everybody's interests. So people learn to support the system. And the greatest example of that is a man called Dhirubhai Ambani. Had he not learned to support the system, he would have been filling petrol in a petrol pump in Doha. But he didn't do that. So he supported the whole system, and by the time he died, he was the wealthiest man in India. So it's a very weird way, it's also a level of the playing field. So there's no easy answer to the issue of corruption in India. But we need morally, there is. We need to lessen it. There's no question about it, And we need to do whatever we can to lessen it. To injustice, there is. I think the two great challenges we face in India are inequality and injustice. The justice system is so unbelievably creaky. I'll tell you a story of 3 days before I took the flight to New York. I was in court, because there are dozens of false cases against us. So I was in court for a court hearing. The magistrate had not come in. Somebody in the court, and it's a lower court, T. Sadari. Okay? So somebody in the court who recognized me and he came and sat next to me. He was a lawyer. So he started talking to me. He said, case kaisa chala, how are you doing, how's the case going? I said, well, it's been 10 years already, and this is around filed a charge sheet. 10 years charge sheet on being filed, so I've been going to court twice a month without charge sheet being filed. So I asked him, what are you doing here? He said, those two guys you see sitting there in that type of courtroom, these are old men, look like in their 70s. He said, I'm representing them. So I said, what's the case? He said, it's a case of an embezzlement of 5,000 rupees. The case was registered in 1981. 2012. He said the charge sheet has just been filed. He said there were 3 government servants, one of them has died, these 2 guys are in their 70s now. And I said, so whose case, who took this case? He said, my father took this case, but the father also died now. How you have a justice system that doesn't deal with it? Even the famous Ellen Mishra, former minister in India, who was killed in a bomb blast in 1974. In a bomb blast. The charge sheet for the Ellen Mishra case has been filed this year. 1974 was when he was assassinated. They filed it, so that's 26 plus 12, 38 years later the charge sheet has been filed.
Sorry, so what?
So the point was making there's no justice.
Part of information. I'm not sure it was involved in Dallas or something.
That's what we are.
So have you arrested anybody?
No, they only filed the charge sheet now this year. Most of the guys are dead.
Yeah, they must be.
Everybody's dead. Not only Ellen Mishra, everybody's dead. And the charge sheet was filed this year.
The law justice treatment talks about very well the creakiness and the cleansing the whole legal system.
It is that. And one of the seed scenes, apart from the attempt on my life, one of the seed scenes that's true to life in the book is the courtroom sequence. And I can tell you the courtroom sequence was incredibly difficult to write because an Indian courtroom is a kind of mix between Kafka and Chaplin. So it's a really bizarre place. So so that scene is true to life because I was summoned to court in Patiala House, now another lower court. And these 5 guys were paraded in front of me, and I was told to say, do I recognize any of them? And of course I did. And these were the 5 assassins who we picked up by the day.
Isn't finding a moral censor for what we do as journalists quite difficult? I mean, more difficult than it is here, though it's harder than here. Let me just think of a kind of easy example of what I'm trying to talk about. I'm trying to say is that if you see Jeremy Paxman, who's an instant interviewing somebody about salary levels, what you want to scream as a viewer is, well, how much should you earn in Germany? And we're finding the sum. Now in India, that's problems which we multiply going forward. Because if I see journalists in India, I can say, oh, they're extremely silly, but given what you said, if you're talking about corruption, I kind of want to ask you, how corrupt are you? Just to be talking.
It's a straight question. I can answer you that. It's a straight question. I think we got a house in the mountains 14 years ago, in 1998. The guy who was doing my paperwork for me, it's a place called Nainital, near Nainital. When he went to the court to get my papers done, the registrar said, you have to give me 2% of the sign fee for this. So my client tried to tell him, he said, Tarun Tejpal, in India, of course, you're a very famous journalist, I should not give this money and all. And I think what the registrar said to him, I said in Hindi and other in English. The registrar said to my client, he said, वो प्रधानमंत्री के लौंडे होंगे ना तो भी देना पड़ेगा नहीं दोगे ना तो तुम्हारे पेपर ऐसे घुमा दूंगा 100 साल घूमते रहोगे in other words even if he is the prime minister's son you got to give me this 2% if you don't give me this 2% I will skew your papers so badly your long papers that you will be wandering on 100 years and get them fixed there you go so he told me he said you know you so there is no, I mean, see,
No way.
there is no way. I mean, you can become dysfunctional. You can become utterly dysfunctional. If you get into, and there are people who are like that. I have a friend of mine. I love him for it. He's insane. He did his IIT from Bombay, and he then went and having done his IIT from Bombay, brilliant guy, a Malayali, and then he went off to Baba Amte's ashram, and he worked in Baba Amte's ashram for 5 years among the lepers. And then he joined India Today where he worked under me, he was a colleague of mine. And we became great friends. He went off later, he worked for 2 or 3 other business newspapers, went to Bombay, developed the software in his free time and earned $1 million for that. Quit his journalism and went on to live in Kerala. One day the income tax department hit him with 3,500 rupees, which he thought was not fair. He spent the next 7 years of his life doing nothing but chasing down 3,500 rupees till it was done. So there are people who will do that. I have to say, I don't have the stomach for that. No, I can't do that. But he did it. And every time I called him and speak to him, he said, I'm going to get the bug because I'm happy. So 7 years and he got his 3,500 rupees fine. And in the 7 years he learned Arabic because I used to go to the income tax commission office and keep studying Arabic, And so he kind of did it, But there are people like that who will do it, but I suppose it's not. I mean, people need to get on with their lives and get on with the world, just get on with it across the board. For example, you can't buy property in India anywhere without being able to transact in cash. It's just not possible to do it because that's how the whole system works now.
Is there any time in the month? Please.
Do we have time?
Yes, I don't know what to say.
I was opening up a new kind of question. So I don't want to.
No, ask me any kind of question.
I think a lot of kind of righteous and rightly placed anger about the blindness of the 1% or the elite. But I think you also represent a kind of counter trend within the elite, which is anger at that blindness. And I don't think you're alone in having a sense of that anger. And so I wondered what the consequences of that kind of anger are for the politics of representation within the media and investigative journalism.
Will be nothing.
I think we're seeing.
Will be nothing. I think there are 2 different things. It's basically the centering of a counter argument. It's the foregrounding of a counter argument. That's what many of us are trying to do. Posit a counter narrative, a counter argument. Will it have any bearing upon electoral politics? -0. You have to understand electoral politics in India is a different game altogether.
Let me just continue the question because I want to push you a little bit further because I think that you're absolutely right that there is a narrative and a powerful counter-narrative of Russia. But I wonder whose views are being represented within that counter-narrative. Because I think what we see at the moment in the Indian media are the emergence of new chimera, new images of the disadvantaged and marginalised. We all have a new understanding of who the adequacy is in India today. But within that image, an awful lot of things are being collapsed. And much of what is So I wonder how, as an editor, you deal with that question of representation within the newsroom. How diverse is the newsroom?
Your best bet at all times in India is plurality. Is to actually try and forward as many counter narratives, not just one. I mean, what keeps India afloat is the fact that it remains resolutely plural. I mean, you don't need one central narrative for to type. You need to give enough weight to all these plural narratives. Yeah. Which was the intent during originally. I mean, there was the overarching umbrella, and within the overarching umbrella, we were meant to be a million tongues speaking. So we have not just let the million tongues speak. What has happened a great deal is that in the last probably 20 or 30 years, the corporatization of media, it's interesting because media has actually expanded and grown unbelievably in India, but its concerns are narrow. And when I was a young journalist, for example, every newspaper had a rural bureau. We used to have rural reporters, rural bureaus. Today, there's not a single publication in India which has a rural bureau. Now, what I, when we started covering the Maoist story in central India, which at least about 5 years ago, nobody was actually getting into it. I mean, the reason there was an amount of work on the whole Maoist narrative is because we had feet on the ground in that territory every single week for the last 4.5 years. We were the first to actually pose a question to the Prime Minister when we said why we should not declare war against our own people. And that was an argument because for a long time the state had assumed a law and order kind of framework for addressing the Maoist issue. And the Prime Minister said it from the Red Fort. He said, this is our greatest security threat and law and order challenge. And so many of us, I think in media we are probably the first, but many of us were trying to make a counter argument by saying, this is the poorest of the poor of your own people. In the land of Gandhi and Nehru, you can't be taking the guns to these guys. I mean, these are guys who suffer on grounds of development, on grounds of progress, on grounds of education. I'll give you a great story which will illustrate it for you. One of the boys died 3 months ago, one of our journalists. 2 of our journalists got access to a mythical citadel of the Maoists called Ahujmar. Nobody had been to Ahujmar at all.
No, sir.
Exactly, there was the map of Ahujmar. So when these 2 kids, young, both of them in 20s, the boy was 23, the girl was 27, when they got access to Ahujmar, they went in. And they were missing for 7 days, no mobile telephones, no connectivities. By the time they came back, both felt grievously ill. In fact, one of them contracted several malaria and jaundice, and the other had a whole slew of viral fevers. The girl survived, the boy died, despite the best treatment available in India. He was just 23 years old. The story that I'm trying to tell you is that when they went in, there were frisks that took places by the Maoists who came into Ahujmar. The only thing they wanted out of the knapsacks were medicines. It was the only thing they were looking for. That's all they wanted. Did they have any kind of medicines that they could take off? And we just did a story post all that. 3 weeks ago, there was a big cover story on the health situation in Chhattisgarh. They've gone through all these areas. It is beyond a reasonable. Reading that will make people weep. It is so bad. There is nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So this was the argument we were trying to make. When I'm saying there is a process by which the arguments start getting traction. The rhetoric of the state has changed in the last 2 years. The whole now they don't address the Maoist rhetoric in the way they were doing it 5 years ago as a pure law and order problem. Today now the Prime Minister talks development, the Home Minister talks development, they talk about healthcare. I mean, so it's a struggle, but this is the struggle that you do. We don't know. It's impossible for me to know what the tribal really wants. But what you can do by some amount of compassion and imagination is to try and imagine what it is that they could possibly want, as for example, medicines and education. So these are the things that you kind of struggle with all the time. It's like a Muslim question, again, a big narrative which they have done for 7 years now, again and again on Muslim issue in India. And let me tell you, when we got into Muslim issue, it was the same story. It took us time to understand that actually, contrary to everything the upper classes in India believe, we are actually full of prejudice against Muslims in India. I mean, it was difficult for even us to believe that. We all grown up imagining we are this wonderfully secular, tolerant people. That's the self-narrative we give ourselves as we're growing up. It was my self-narrative too. And it's only when we began to do the work, we realized there's prejudice in judiciary, in police, in media, in bureaucracy, in politics. There's a prejudice all the way down the line in society against Muslims. And because we were documenting cases, we were documenting case after case of young Muslim boys who had been put away for years and then being freed because no evidence had been found against them. I think there were scores and scores of cases we documented, and then it began to shift. The way these things were being addressed actually began to shift a little bit. So I think it's always a kind of ongoing battle in India, and It's complex. There's no easy answer to any of it. You've got 60 million tribals. You've got 185 million Muslims. These are not a few people. And there are Muslims in India and there are in Pakistan. So I mean, it's a battle. So there is multiple battles that go on all the time. So as a very tiny journalistic establishment with very finite resources, both human and financial, you just pick the big narrative themes and try and deploy your resources there. That's a good part.
Thank you. I just
I just want to sort of just one more.
Yes.
I think the question of counter narrative being told among the elite to themselves. You constantly refer to yourself as being one of the elites. Do you think, as an editor, you would like to see this change? Maybe, for example, I've been a journalist myself, so I've always wondered. It sounds like reportage on Naxalism is deprived of some insights because none of the reporters who leave Delhi to go there have the basic language skills that you might want when you are in a Santali or a Godi speaking. Do you think, as an editor, those are the directions you want to think in, or is it more about waging an insurgency within the elite?
Honestly speaking, I mean, in the perfect world, I would love it if my editors who speak Santali and Tamil and Malayalam and everything, but they can't. At the same time, I don't believe that if you can't speak Santali, you can't intuit, investigate, and arrive at the problems that are existing there. I think somebody just walking through those villages, just walking through them, will come back with something approximating the great truth of what's really happening there. Because I mean, it's devastatingly bad. The situation, like I was just saying, there's not even minimal health and educational care. There's not even drinking water. These two kids who went to Abushmar, they were having problems because they couldn't find clean drinking water anywhere. And finally, the girl who survived told us that there was a kind of running rivulet which was almost red in the forest, where the boy insisted on drinking the water, and she said, I kept telling him, don't do it, we'll find some place where we can boil it and drink it. He said, you're just so thirsty. He said, it's okay, let's just drink it. And that's what gave him the jaundice, one of the things that killed him. But there is actually nothing. So you don't need any great linguistics. That's what scholars to do. As a journalist, you enter a kind of devastated zone, I think you can pretty much read it if you're a good journalist or what's the problem there.
You did mention the fact that your Hindi journalists get a kind of short shift because they don't speak English. Now, as an editor, I'm again repeating it, but do you see that your role changed that?
No. See, they don't get a short shrift from us. I'm seeing the logic of the language they work in works against them getting an equal footing as the English journalists. So I just told you, the Hindi magazine sells for half the price that the English does. The English Hindi magazine, though it sells more than the English already, gets in 1/5 the advertising that the English does. So there is a kind of language hierarchy at work that disadvantages them. They are smarter. From me, they get all the love and affection that they can get, but they don't get, I'm saying, in the sense, the equal footing they deserve. And so it's just because they're working in a language that has less traction in the kind of hierarchy of languages, than English does.
Okay, what's the time? I'm very glad to share this. Two. Now,
That's 5 minutes.
there's a gentleman there.
Even a bunch of brilliant people came up with complex stuff with regard to constitution, whatever it be, IPC and stuff. But of late, people who are handling it, the judges or the advocates, are not that complex or they don't understand the cards that stuck with them. And these people come up with their own conclusions about what they are. And constitution or the IPC is now a book or a set of things that have loopholes. So don't you think stooping down or had they stooped down a bit or they brought down the level a bit down would have reduced the chaos that's been created? As in complexities all over has created some sort of a mindset which is made us complex as such, and then we don't tend to think simple stuff, which would have created or lessened the
I
problem.
have to say, I mean, I can give many answers, but I have to say I'm not a great devotee of simplicity here. I'm terrified by the simple here. I mean, the end of simplicity is jihadis and sanghis, and who kind of have a simplistic view of things in the world here. I mean, the world is a complex place. People are incredibly complex. You have to deal with them in a complex way. If you come from a country like India, it's the most complex country in the world. If you try and make it simple, you end up becoming a Sanghi. You become a right-wing Sangpawari or you become a jihadi. That's what you end up becoming. So it's really not. But if the question is, are a lot of our seed documents in need of revision? I think some of them could do with revision certain, particularly where criminal procedure is concerned and the penal code is concerned. But I would be low. I would be very, very careful about meddling with the Constitution. I think the incredible thing about India is that the Constitution has lifted us all to a higher level. And I think the task and challenge of the founding fathers was to lift us to a higher level, not to drag themselves all down to our level. The idea was to lift us all up to a kind of higher level. And the Constitution, I'll tell you something, even the most venal politician in India will be very careful about saying something kind of that vitiates the Constitution. That's the beauty. So there's something we hold on to, and I'll tell you the enduring success of the founding fathers and the lofty vision is that even today, the worst bigoted politician in India will find it difficult to stand up in public and abuse Muslims. I mean, that's the beauty, or abuse Christians. It won't be tolerated even now, no matter how kind of fractured the times are. That is the kind of bar that the founding fathers set, and that we have to honor, that's what's made it possible. Even today, no bigoted politician can have the courage to actually stand up and publicly abuse any other religion or caste or gender. But that's the beauty. So there was a very high bar set by the founding fathers. I think that's something we should try and hold on to, not kind of put it down.
Thank you. On that cheerful